Amina loved her morning walks. The salty air, the gentle lapping of waves, the peace, it was her sanctuary. But one morning, her peaceful routine was shattered. The early morning waves of the ocean kissed the sand as Amina strolled along the shore. This was her favorite time of day, when the village was still asleep and the world felt like hers alone. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of salt and seaweed, and the only sounds were the rhythmic crash of waves and the occasional cry of seagulls overhead. It was during one of these serene walks that Amina noticed something unusual. Just a few feet away, lying where the tide met the sand, was a figure. At first, she thought it was driftwood or perhaps a fisherman's discarded net. But as she approached, her heart skipped a beat. It was a woman. Her skin glistened unnaturally, shimmering in the faint light of dawn. She wore what appeared to be a tattered, silken wrap around her lower body, but it seemed to sparkle like scales. Amina knelt beside her, shaking her gently. "Hello? Are you okay?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. The woman stirred, opening eyes that seemed too bright to be human. They were an unearthly shade of blue-green, like the heart of the ocean. She mumbled something in a language Amina didn't understand, her voice melodic and faint. Realizing the woman was weak and possibly injured, Amina made a swift decision. She wrapped the stranger in her shawl and carried her back to her small home, unaware that this act of kindness would unravel a tale beyond her wildest imagination. Amina lived in a modest hut at the edge of the village, nestled between the palm trees and overlooking the sea. She placed the woman on a mat and fetched water. The stranger drank eagerly but refused food, shaking her head when offered bread or fruit. Instead, her eyes lingered on the fish Amina had caught earlier that morning. "Do you want this?" Amina asked, holding up a fish. To her surprise, the woman nodded vigorously. As days passed, the woman's strength returned. She introduced herself as Nerina but was evasive about her past. Her demeanor was strange, she avoided direct sunlight, seemed fascinated by the water jug, and spent hours gazing longingly at the ocean. One evening, Amina found Nerina clutching a shimmering cloth she had hidden in the corner of the room. The cloth seemed alive, its surface rippling like water. "What is that?" Amina asked, but Nerina quickly hid it, her expression wary. "It's part of me," she said cryptically, her voice trembling. "Please don't touch it." Amina decided not to press further, but her curiosity grew. Who was this woman, and what was she hiding? The village began to notice strange happenings. Fishermen reported hearing songs at night, hauntingly beautiful melodies that seemed to rise from the ocean itself. Nets left in the water were mysteriously torn, and some villagers claimed to see glowing lights beneath the waves. "It's the work of Mami Wada," an elder woman whispered one evening. "The spirits of the sea are restless." Amina dismissed these tales as superstitions, but deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that Nerina was connected to the strange events. Her guest grew more anxious with each passing day, often pacing by the window or murmuring to herself in that foreign tongue. One night, Amina awoke to find Nerina standing outside, staring at the ocean. Her hands were outstretched as if calling to the waves. The sight sent a shiver down Amina's spine. "Nerina, what are you doing?" she called. Nerina turned, her eyes glistening with tears. "They're coming for me," she said softly. "I can feel it." The next morning, Amina confronted Nerina. "Who are you really? And what are you hiding from?" she demanded. Nerina hesitated before finally speaking. "I am not like you," she admitted. "I come from the ocean. My people, we live beneath the waves, hidden from the human world. I disobeyed our laws by coming too close to the shore. I was curious about your kind, but I was caught in a fisherman's net. I shed my tail to escape, but now I cannot return until I recover my full strength." Amina stared at her, disbelief and awe swirling in her mind. "You're saying you're a mermaid?" Nerina nodded. "In your language, yes. But my people call ourselves the children of the ocean. And now they are searching for me. If they find me here, they will punish anyone who helped me." That evening, dark figures appeared near Amina's hut. They moved silently, their forms barely visible in the moonlight, but their presence was unmistakable. Amina's heart raced as she realized they were not human. The figures spoke in a commanding tone, their words echoing like waves crashing against rocks. Nerina stepped outside, trembling. "Please, let me stay a little longer," she pleaded. "I need more time." One of the figures, taller and more imposing than the rest, replied, "You have broken our laws, Nerina. Your disobedience has brought chaos to our world. The longer you stay here, the more you endanger both your kind and theirs." Amina stepped forward, her voice shaking but determined. "She's not ready. Please, give her more time to heal." The figure turned to her, its gaze piercing. "Human, you do not understand the balance you have disrupted. Return her to us, or face the consequences." Realizing she had no choice, Amina devised a plan to help Nerina return to the ocean safely. She suggested using a hidden cove, far from the prying eyes of the villagers and the ocean guards. Nerina agreed, though fear lingered in her eyes. On the appointed night, Amina and Nerina made their way to the cove. The journey was fraught with tension, every shadow and sound amplifying their unease. When they arrived, the ocean seemed to come alive, waves crashing with an intensity that mirrored the emotions in the air. As Nerina stepped into the water, her shimmering cloth transformed, enveloping her lower body in a cascade of scales. She turned to Amina, her expression a mix of gratitude and sorrow. "Thank you," she said, "for your kindness, your courage, and your friendship." She handed Amina a pearl, its surface glowing softly. "This will protect you. Remember me when you hold it." With one final glance, Nerina dove into the waves, disappearing beneath the surface. The ocean seemed to sigh, its fury calming as if appeased. Life in the village slowly returned to normal, but Amina was forever changed. She often visited the cove, clutching the pearl and listening to the whispers of the waves. Though she missed her friend, she found comfort in knowing that their bond transcended the boundaries of their worlds. And sometimes, on quiet nights, she swore she could hear Nerina's song, carried on the wind, a reminder of the extraordinary tale she would carry in her heart forever.